Great night for Arsenal then. They are top of that Champions League phase table with 6 wins in 6. Absolutely fantastic. They are 6 points ahead of 9th place Liverpool. British teams doing quite well, of course. Liverpool, as I say, in 9th, Tottenham in 11th, Newcastle in 12th after that draw today. Leverkusen and Chelsea are in 13th. Well, let's hear from the Arsenal boss then. Mikel Arteta has been speaking with Liam.
Miguel, congratulations. 3-0 away from home, clean record in the Champions League. What impressed you most by your team tonight?
Well, we know how difficult it is to play in the Champions League and to win away from home, and especially when we have that many players out, it makes the task bigger. But I talked to the boys. It was about showing how much we wanted, the resilience, and how we prepared. And I think there were some great examples. For example, Christian Norgard, which is a player that probably prepares the best out of all of them, and is somebody that makes all of us better every single day. And he needs to play in any position, any condition, whether he plays more or less minutes, his attitude is always immaculate, and that's a really good example for all of us.
On more or less minutes, the 2 goal scorers today come in, show their worth again. It's going to make your job a little bit harder if they keep scoring goals. Yeah, the fact that we have now the attacking players back, I think both of them, Noni and Gabi, were outstanding today. The level of threat they give, the 2 finishing are spectacular. And then as well, obviously, Gabi Jesus back after 11 months and this so difficult journey that he's been through with all of us, and to see him perform as well in the manner that he did, really, really positive. Yeah, there was a lovely moment at the end of the match. Gabriel Jesus, he looks quite emotional. He was getting hugs from members of staff, teammates. How good is it to see him back? Because those long days when you're injured can be tough, can't they? Yes, especially, you get the injury, everybody is at you, you get the surgery, everybody is fully behind you, and then there is a moment that you are alone almost, and you have to go through a lot of pain and difficult moments and uncertainty. He's done that a few times in his career, and he shows his mental toughness, how much he loves to play football, and we're all delighted to have him back. When things are going as well as they are in the league, in the Champions League, does it come with a different set of challenges to manage the expectations within the group to make sure that you can continue this run? Now it was about managing, again, the amount of situation that we had in the backline, because as well some players were there, but they could not play more than 45 minutes or 30 minutes. And to manage that has been tough. But with the attitude that the players have, I know that if I ask anybody to play there, he would do it, and they've done a great job. Okay, well, congratulations. Safe trip home. Cheers.
Yeah, it's about creating that structure, isn't it? It's about creating that mentality of all the players, as he said, when he wants you to play in whatever position that you come in and play. And he has been managing a lot of injuries in this team.
Yeah, we were counting there off the break, seven players out, I think it is. And,
yeah, senior players.
And senior players, yeah. First team players that would probably start in any big game that he would have. So again, he's managing that. But again, going back to what I said before the break, it's about the squad of players he's built over the last 3 or 4 years. You know, you would struggle to find a stronger squad in Europe. I really think that in all departments. You know, Madueke there comes in for Saka tonight, scores 2 goals, gets man of the match. Martinelli on the other side scores. And again, Zubimendi was involved, a couple of assists from him. You know, players like that are so important to this group. I mean, it'll all depend what happens at the end of the season. They're on a really good pathway at the minute. And again, they've had so much, I suppose, negativity thrown their way when they finished second 2 or 3 times in the Premier League. You know, not got the semi-final in the Champions League, and they're called the nearly team in inverted commas. Until they get their hands on a big bit of silverware, then it'll probably flow after that. You might see a few years of dominance from Arsenal because this squad is strong enough to do that.
And, you know, as a group, you'll be so desperate to kind of get to that next level, wouldn't you? And even with all the new arrivals, everyone has seemed to assimilate very well. And it feels that, as you were saying before, they're all singing from the same hymn sheet. They all know what the brief is for this season as well. And it's just creating that squad harmony and that unity. And despite having those selection dilemmas, it feels as though mentally that they're on the right track in terms of as a group. They're all very united.
Yeah, and I've experienced it easy to create, and you do have understanding when people aren't playing. But you've only got to look over at Liverpool. You know, obviously everything last season, everything was coming out beautifully. This season, few cracks, lose a few games. That's when you see how people react, how players react, how they interview. And that's so important for Arsenal because you know the pressures will come if they don't win consistently. But like we say, it's not about that right now. They've been excellent. They've built a really good squad. People coming in, they're contributing. Excellent, like I say, but they will have their moment. It's how they react when they have that moment.
Yeah, well, the first reaction was tonight, and they got the victory after defeat at Villa a couple of days ago. They have Wolves at home on Saturday. That one's live on TNT Sports, and Saturday evening, actually, an 8 p.m. kickoff for that one. You would probably assume by Wolves' awful run of form, very unfortunate at the moment, that Arsenal, particularly at home, can do very well. Then they travel to Arsenal. They've got Crystal Palace at home, Brighton at home, Aston Villa again at home, which will be an interesting grudge match, and then Bournemouth away. Any of these fixtures worry you at all?
Well,
Shay?
the Villa one jumps off the page because what happened just at the weekend gone. I know it's a close sort of come around, a few months in between the fixtures, but I'm sure Arteta's team talked before that game, although they done us in the last minute. But what it did sort of like from an Arsenal point of view, I know they didn't like to lose in the last minute the other day against Aston Villa, but the players' reaction, Raya, Rice, all the players were literally collapsed to the ground and they were banging the floor because they knew how important it is to get the job done, to stay in this E-class unbeaten run, 18 I think it was, but that's gone now, and now it's about, as I said before, there'll be bumps on the road. It's how they respond, how do they react as a group, as the manager as well. He's got to keep the lid on things, even after the Aston Villa result. He's got to come in the next day, be bubbly, be fresh, let's park that to one side. It's all about Club Brugge now, and then now it's all about Wolves. We have to just keep that sort of momentum going throughout the course of the season, and there will be bumps along the road, but there's a blue big lorry coming behind them in Manchester City in the Premier League as well, only 2 points behind them, and they've not hit the heights that we know Man City can hit as well. So in the back of these players' minds and Arteta's mind, that will be a concern as well.
Either in the Champions League, even though they're very, very much in a good place, but certainly in the league, as you say, that big blue lorry is coming at them. Only a couple of points between them. Yeah, of course, and Man City are always going to be there and thereabouts, and by their own standards, I think they'll be disappointed with this season, but they're coming into it. Big result out in Europe tonight. They've had a few close scares, probably too many goals conceded at the moment. They can tighten things up at the back. They look a real threat going forward.
In. What a goal. And then he got a complete contrast to the first goal. And that's what you want from your attacking players. Can they score all sorts of goals, but especially these goals. The long range one won't happen too often, but he's got to make sure as a wide player, he gets in at that back post and he couldn't miss.
Couldn't miss?
Couldn't miss, and he didn't miss.
We've had some great goals tonight, though, haven't we?
Yeah.
Especially in the women's with Leon, but this one from Martinelli is outstanding. Look at, wowzer! Bends it into the top bag. Look at the bend, the precision. The keeper has no chance. 3-0, the Arsenal.
The Arsenal. Wow.
It puts Arsenal top of the table as well, still right up there in first, Bayern in second, PSG third, Manchester City in fourth.
No worries.
Micah.
Calma. Table time tonight. Going to be lovely.
Yes, we're looking forward to a special edition.
We've got something special tonight.
Yes, you did. You're into nine.
Liverpool have just seen dropped out the top 8.
Oh, yeah, but you got to be there at the end. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Actually, a little bit, Joe, I want to ask you again. You know, you've been part of winning sides. You know what it means, and Shay as well. You know what it means to put a team together to go through the hard times and come out the other end. And Arsenal have come out second best for a couple of seasons now. And a lot has been levelled against them in terms of their mental fragility. And I just wanted to know your thoughts on whether the side that you're seeing now looks like a side that could actually potentially go all the way now.
What a player. Martinelli and Saka send message to Noni Madueke after Champions League brace versus Club Brugge. Arsenal registered a 3-0 win over Club Brugge on the road in the Champions League on Wednesday. The Gunners went into the game after a demoralising 2-1 loss to Aston Villa in the Premier League. They provided a perfect reaction with a couple of stellar long-range goals from Noni Madueke and Gabriel Martinelli. Madueke was undoubtedly the man of the match after scoring a brace, but Martinelli was equally good away from home. The Brazilian had scored in each of his 4 Champions League appearances this campaign and extended the streak yesterday. In the process, he became the first ever Arsenal player to score in 5 consecutive matches in the elite competition. Shortly after the game, Madueke took to Instagram to reveal his delight over his performance. Martinelli was one of many players to react. The Brazilian wrote, "What a player." Bukayo Saka also commented with warm after Madueke's first ever brace for the Gunners. Madueke scored a sensational solo goal to open the scoring in the 25th minute. He dribbled his way past a couple of players before unleashing a long-range shot, which found the top right corner. The Englishman bagged his second goal with an easy header at the far post. Martin Zubimendi needs to be lauded for pressing forward and delivering a quality left-footed cross from Madueke. Madueke was also involved defensively for the Gunners, winning 5 duels alongside 3 recoveries. The former Chelsea man also won 100% of his tackles alongside a solitary interception. The 23-year-old had a perfect game in Bruges. He'll be knocking on the door for a starting role when the Gunners entertain Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League on Saturday evening. Bukayo Saka should be reinstated on the right wing for the game. It could be one of Madueke or Martinelli starting on the opposite flank. Madueke could get the nod after his brace yesterday. David Raya steps up for Arsenal as Gunners down Club Brugge with makeshift defense. Arsenal claimed a resounding 3-0 win over Club Brugge to maintain their lead atop the UEFA Champions League table. The Gunners took the lead via a thunderbolt from Noni Madueke before Martin Zubimendi put a chance on a platter for the Englishman to notch his brace. Gabriel Martinelli scored to become the first Arsenal player to net in 5 consecutive Champions League matches. While Madueke, Zubimendi, and Martinelli will likely get all the plaudits, David Raya between the sticks deserves recognition for a stellar performance. Arsenal had managed only 1 clean sheet in 6 coming into this tie, but the 30-year-old refused to be beaten. The Spaniard made 7 saves, including 6 from inside the box, and prevented expected goals of around 1.12. The magnificent goalkeeper also completed 21 of 24 passes, demonstrating effective distribution. Raya made smart saves from Carlos Forbes, Christos Tsolis, and Alexander Stankovic. Football London gave him an 8 out of 10 rating and hailed his performance. He was the unheralded hero for Arsenal on the night. With the shaky Piero Incapié and midfielder Christian Norgard lining up in defense in front of him, Raya needed to be at his best for Arsenal and delivered the goods. The North Londoners have been decimated by injuries, leaving them light at the back. William Salima, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Christian Mosquera are all currently sidelined. Arsenal will need Raya to play out of his skin in the coming games as they look to take their lead at the top of the Premier League table into the new year. Manchester City are breathing down their necks. Arsenal's watertight defense was the core of this team. At the beginning of the season, they harbored dreams of breaking Chelsea's record of only 15 goals conceded in a season. However, with injuries threatening to break the rearguard and derail Arsenal's campaign, they will have to shelve those dreams and hope Raya steps up till the defenders return. The Gunners welcome bottom-of-the-table Wolverhampton Wanderers to the Emirates Stadium this weekend.